on it.
And we are welcoming beautiful Jacquie Carmichael from Weaver's Lane here today for our Soul Collective Masterclass. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh my God, it's so great to be able to have you in this space and to share conversation with you about the waters and about creativity and about life in general. So thank you for making the time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I feel privileged to be able to talk to you.
Oh, you wonderful, wonderful woman. We're just going to start with, as we start with most of our little chats, about the 3 practices you have to nourish your soul.
Okay, 3. Have to refine it then, because I have many. But I have to say at the top of my list would be dancing and music to nourish my soul. If I do everything to music, it's just I love music, all sorts of music, and I do have to pick my music depending on what space I'm in, is depending on what I'm listening to. I'm always dancing with my daughter when we're cooking tea or whatever. So yeah, dancing and music is a huge nourishing thing for my soul.
In what way? What does it do?
Down, I guess if I'm feeling down, music can lift me up, depending on what I'm listening to. And if I need to chill out, it can, help me to relax. So, all different types of music for different moods.
And what a lovely connection then that brings with you and your daughter.
Yeah, sure. That is definitely a big way we connect, is through dance and singing. It's huge in our house. And my son too, very much connect with him. I always have, since he was little, with music.
He's a musician, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been a bit slack lately, but yeah, I'm hoping that when he gets through this teenage passage, he will get back into the swing of music and being in a band and playing more music. Yeah.
And having that nourishment. Well, he's learning from a master. You also, actually, before we go any further, you actually run Sacred Space with music and dance, don't you, in where you live?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I try and hold the sacred dance journey, I call it, where you actually are blindfolded, but it's not blindfolded as you can't see anything. I guess you can see your feet, so you don't feel, like you're totally in the dark, but it's just so you can let go and not looking at other people or others or judging yourself or anyone in that space, and just feeling into yourself and making any movements, whether it be sitting on the ground and swaying to really letting loose. We dance for about an hour. So yeah, I do that, and I try and do that often.
How do the women, is it women only, women, men, how do they respond to it?
Well, I've just been doing women, but I'd like to, everyone's invited, but it seems to always be the woman, the beautiful woman who is looking after herself and nourishing herself, that come along, and they respond amazingly. Some people, love to dance and do it at home anyway, and they come to enjoy it, and others come to actually embrace themselves and maybe face a fear, and they come to stomp it out and maybe get in touch with themselves, back in touch with themselves again.
Well,
we try to do it on a new moon or a full moon, sorry.
Yeah, beautiful.
And, so that's a powerful time for them to connect to themselves.
And it's one of those things with the mind, the breath, the sound, and the body, how intrinsically you can connect to yourself and know yourself so much more by just the way that you move.
Yeah, it's a huge learning. It's huge. It's just, to be able to dance in the dark, basically. You're feeling into all parts of yourself, finding your blockages, just letting go. It's all about letting go, shaking it out, freeing yourself.
It's a very shamanic practice. Dance was one of the first ever forms of prayer, and with shamanic dancing, it does release all those little tightnesses and tensions and create a new avenue for energy to flow. So that's beautiful, and the fact that you do it on the earth and under the moon in whatever phase she is in is even more powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous practice. I encourage everyone to dance. Even if you're not blindfolded, just dance.
just dance. Let's move back a little bit, rewind a little bit backwards into your story. Where you were from, how your life and the journey that you've taken along your way has defined you and to bring you to this point in being a creative.
Oh goodness, I am from the west coast of Eyre Peninsula, so Port Lincoln. I call it the wild west coast because it is wild here. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's wild in many ways. I think it's defined me. I feel like growing up here has made me very capable. I feel like I can, I think take on anything or journey well, because I have grown up in such a wild, rugged place and in a community that I suppose in ways it defines you, because everyone knows you in the community. So that can be really hard at times, really hard. And it can also be very nourishing as well. It has ups and downs like any small town.
And so you grew up there, but you've traveled quite a bit in your life, haven't you?
Yeah, I left Port Lincoln when I was 16 years old, and I went traveling by myself. I started, I think, up the centre of Australia at Ayers Rock. I lived in Broome, I've lived in Cairns, I've lived in Perth, I've lived in Sydney, I've lived in Melbourne. and then I went across to England and lived in London for 2 years and travelled through Europe. And then I went to Canada and lived in Vancouver and went through Alaska and down through Mexico. So yes, I have travelled.
You have travelled.
Wide.
And you made your way back to your hometown. What was the pull to return?
Well, it was that community. It was that sense of community. And I had a family, my son, then, and I just felt like I needed it. I needed to come back home and be on this rugged, wild coast and back to the roots. Yeah, back here.
Back to the beginning. But as I would imagine seeing all of that wonderful parts of our world and the growth that you would have had as a completely different woman to the 16-year-old that left, in that sense of passion and adventure and curiosity.
Definitely 100%. But I wouldn't be who I am today without any of it. So
of course.
Yeah. And
so you are a creative person. You're a weaver now, but you haven't always been a weaver. You've been creative in lots of different ways.
Yeah, I've dabbled in certain things, but I don't think when I was dabbling in those kind of things, painting and stuff like that, I don't think I really knew myself very well. So I think it was a bit hard for me to reach the place that that I am now. And I didn't actually know what I was doing. So, I was just ducking and weaving into it, and then voila, So, it wasn't like I've always been creative. I don't actually find myself to be, I don't know. I didn't ever find myself being a creative person. It found me, basically.
Tell me more about that.
Found me. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I had an accident about 6 years ago where I was mowing the lawns and I chopped off my fingers in the lawnmower. I know that sounds absolutely horrendous and traumatic, and it very much was. And I think I did do a lot of work on my trauma because of that. I feel absolutely fine with it now because it did lead me to where I am now. It led me into weaving. Um, I think it helped bring my daughter in, and I've just learned so much from it. I've learned to calm down. I've learned to slow down. I've learned to be creative, and yeah, I guess I'm thankful for it in a way.
So I know this might sound like a bizarre question, but if you're weaving, if you've lost bits of your fingers, how would that have, like, how did weaving then help, or how did that help you find yourself? How did weaving help you find yourself, when I would imagine that's a really tangible thing for you have to use your hands and fingers?
Yeah, my surgeon actually told me to move my hand or lose my hand. So lose it as in lose the function of my hand. And that kind of scared me in a way. And I was like, what am I going to do to move my hand more? I'm not very good at writing and that kind of stuff. So writing wasn't really an option for me. So I did, and I had to put my hand in a bucket of rice. That was part of my therapy, dipping my hand into a bucket of rice and like moving my hand around. And then I thought I would like to maybe, because I have bones sticking out of my skin, so which I had to have another operation for, but I thought I would like to work with something gentle, so wool and textile, kind of medium. So I just decided to give my hand at weaving. You should see my first one. It's very funny. But yeah, I started to do a weaving because I then gave birth to my daughter, and I wanted to make her something really special. And I thought I might make a weaving for her wall in her baby's room. So I made her a weaving, and it was very funny. And then I thought, I can do this, and I'm pretty determined. So when that one looked a bit shitty, I decided to try another one, and it just went on from there. And the more I sat, the more things were coming through to me, and it was like I started to channel, you might say, my creativity into these weavings. And once I had found that, there was just no stopping. There's no stopping me. I can't.
It was like
I can't unsee that.
Yeah, it's like a great flow of energy that flows in. And then they talk about creativity being a source from like a spiritual spark and a spiritual energy. Can you drop a little bit deeper into, things just come? How, like, if you're sitting at a loom and do you use a loom?
Yes, all my looms are handmade. I've handmade my own loom. I guess I need space, and I do. I need space and time to be able to have the space to listen, and feel into it. So yeah, I don't try too hard. It does definitely just come natural, and my hands take me exactly where I want to go. And even if I'm envisioning, because I've had quite a few people say this in the last 6 years, even if I am maybe penciling down what my intentions are for a weaving, when I actually sit down to do it, I won't be like copying my drawing. Well, I'll go to copy my drawing, but something completely different will come through. And it's from whoever is bringing it through. So I just have to listen to that. I was like, oh, but I had a purple triangle on my drawing. No.
Not now, lady.
No, now we're doing a yellow circle. So yeah, that just happened.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way to just be in that space and that surrender. And I suppose, when you're sitting in that energy you're creating. Every time you create something, you're actually putting quite a bit of magic into it, because it's coming from, especially if they're things that people buy, because then they're going to get this resonance of that energy that you've created to go, and it sparks something magical in them. So it's like this beautiful transference.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think I've weaved about 500 weavings, and I don't own one of them. Not one. Only my daughter's.
The first one?
No, which came through later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's
she manifests quite a few things, she does.
Yeah. So what's the one that she has now, just out of interest?
It's actually a weaving with the macrame. It's macrame and weaving together. So a weaving up the top and a macrame bottom.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and clay. So it's three things that have really come through for me: my clay, the weaving, and the macrame, which have all come through, and it's all of that one all together. And that was actually done quite early in the piece, and then came the macrame because it's so it's just so popular, and it's come back from the 70s, and people have asked me to do certain things, and that's just all come out as well. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, I know personally I have a couple of pieces, and I just say to you, just do me something that you know, and just let it come in, because I trust that magic, and the pieces that I have are truly magical, and I get lots of comments with them. So thank you, dear sister.
Thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me to do that. That's lovely. I love when that happens.
It is nice to be able to, well, it's good to have that trust, isn't it? You know, you trust me, I trust the process.
Absolutely.
and it's nice to just be able to go, I can make whatever I like for this person, and know that it's going to be received in love.
Yeah, that's true creativity.
It is. Now,
creativity at its finest.
Yes, sorry. I do agree. No, please, that's fine. The old Zoom is bounces around. So you've exhibited quite a few times. Your last one was Souls of the Sun, which was they were more figurative. It was a really interesting turn from what you've done in the past into really figurative pieces.
Much harder, much harder to do, a bit more of a challenge for me, which is what I needed at the time. So that's okay. And I took my inspiration from my coast, from this wild coast, and the women of this coast. The women are always getting out there and, you know, having a go at surfing, and good surfers. And just like the men go to the surf, the women go to the surf. And I took my inspiration from them, and not just on this coast, worldwide. So Souls of the Sun, which were women surfers. Yeah.
And did you work from a photograph or just a drawing, or that inspired, thing that was coming through most for you?
Both, everything, all.
Yeah.
A bit of a picture, a bit of a photograph, going to the beach and watching, and then all the colours were just coming through.
Yeah. Because you exhibited in Port Lincoln, and it was a sellout, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. I don't own any of those pieces too. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome, and it was right in the middle of COVID, which was a bit, oh wow, this is like putting a spanner in the works, but not really.
No. Well, people are, we want those little things that spark joy in us, don't we?
Yeah.
So you've talked about having to find the space to be able to be creative. If you're caught up in life, like, how do you find space? Because I can see you're sitting in your car, so obviously you've had to go and find some space just to chat.
Yep, space and time. You know the old saying, time is precious, and it really, really is, especially when you have a family, or not even a family. Maybe it's a job that takes up a lot of your time. You do have to find time and space for creativity to roll on through. Yeah.
Do you make a pact with yourself to go, if X, Y, and Z is done, then with all your support people, I'm actually doing this now? Is that how you have to do it to carve out that space for you?
Yeah, you do. It's been a huge learning curve for me, because I went really hard and I was doing 6 hours of weaving during the day. It was like a full-time job, and I've been doing that for a good 3 years. And then just leaving my studio slash office, to go into the kitchen and quickly make tea before the husband gets home. Quickly, I have to fold some washing or something to make it look like I've
Hopefully
done
he
something
doesn't.
today.
Hopefully he doesn't watch this.
He won't. He doesn't have time.
Yes,
So
I've
yeah,
been doing things. Here's proof.
mm,
Here's proof. And then in the
yeah.
in the other side,
Not that
there's
it
all
should
this.
be like that.
No.
But yeah,
What do you
and
work?
now I'm down to 2 hours. I'm just doing 2 hours a day. That's the way I'm getting through, and the rest it's all about balance. Making time for myself. I have to be able to go to a yoga class once a week, do some walking. Breathing is huge. If I'm feeling overwhelmed or can't cope, and maybe it's that time of the month, I just have to breathe. I have to sit down and go, right, just take 3 deep breaths and then just let's go. So, yeah. And then you find where your priorities are. You know, weaving isn't huge when I've got 2 kids at school and I've been homeschooling as well. And I hold another 2 jobs as well. So, yeah, breathing is just huge.
Such a simple thing, isn't it? Yet we forget it, and we're not often conscious in the breath, which then if you're not conscious in the breath, it doesn't actually have any power attached to it. It's just something that sustains you. But as soon as you're conscious of it, it gives you that beautiful letting go and allows you to prioritize, which is just how wonderful is that? A tool that you carry around the whole time.
It's just ridiculous that we forget it.
I know.
If you don't breathe, you actually die.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So what are you working on at the moment?
I actually, like I'm saying, no more exhibitions. No, I don't have time for exhibition time. They're just so time consuming. But of course, it's another exhibition. And I've given myself 2 years for this one, which I'm really proud of.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so there's stuff coming through all the time. So I'm going to take 2 years and do it really slowly and do some commission pieces as they come through as well. So I've just finished my first piece for my next exhibition, which I'm not saying. I'm just going to let it unfold.
Yeah.
You will know when it's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got 2 commissions to do, so I'm just taking it in my stride.
Will you exhibit in Port Lincoln again, or will you come over to the Big Smoke, or do both?
No, maybe I'll do both. I don't think I've done Salt Festival and I've done the Sala Festival now, and I don't, unless another festival comes up that takes my fancy, I don't think I'll do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll manifest something to do it with some women like yourself.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of creatives that will be listening to this that will instantly go, oh, I have a gallery space, or I know someone with a gallery space. And
I love that.
And just like that, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it is.
And so it is. So what are there any of your top tips that you could give our beautiful sisters to, well, besides breathing, besides actually stopping what you're doing if you're getting overwhelmed and just breathe, what other tips can you give to help that beautiful flow of creativity just continue?
Oh, goodness. Again, finding your balance and just starting with whatever takes your fancy. Just trying something, even if it's a piece of shit, because you got to start somewhere, and it's funny and it's fun. Yeah,
I love that, because it is, you could have this whole wealth of things that you could be that it's part of the creative process, but if you actually don't even try for fear of whatever, then it's just not going to work. We've been doing lots of mandala work and dipping into our body through the circle, which has been a lovely process for some of the women in our soul collective. So breathing, starting, and balance.
Mm-hmm.
No, breathing, beginning, and balance.
Yeah, you do need the time, but just start anything, even if it's not really resonating with you yet. Just pick up anything and just start something that and have a look at it. Have a really good look at it, and it might be just hideous or just a shape, but it's the start. It's the start of something.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear
Thank you.
Weaver friend. Weaver's Lane, Jacquie Carmichael, and I'll put some notes down so people will know where to go and what to look for in it, and especially if they want a commissioned piece, they will know where to go. Thank you so much, dear sister.
Thank you.
Go well through your day, and we shall see you on the Ron.
Yes, thank you. Love you.
Love you too.